Welcome back to the DFS Sweatshop. I am your host, the DFS Jerusalem, breaking down for you last night's six-game slate of NBA basketball. First, before we get started, I'm going to do what we always do whenever we have some really good showings in the DFS Sweatshop, whether they are from the Twitter family that follows the show closely, or whether it's from the paid subscribers that of course, follow every movement of the DFS Sweatshop, or the guys in the VIP Facebook group. Whenever those guys have really great nights, I've got to shout them out. And we're going to start with a gentleman, J Fab, on DraftKings. Man, he had an excellent showing in the $4 main event, the large GPP. This dude had like four top 50 showings, the highest of which was one that was a 24th in that tournament. Now, you're talking about 180,000 people. This dude came in 24th. Awesome showing for him. I believe he took home a little over a grand. Very nice day for J Fab. Thank you. I salute you in the DFS Sweatshop. Appreciate everything you do for the show in your following and moving forward. Now, these are all people that say, hey, we love what you're doing in the sweatshop, man. We watch the show faithfully. We also incorporate your picks, your analysis, your takes in our roster building, and I definitely appreciate you guys for that shout out. Then we're gonna talk about my homie Kyler18. That's a real solid dude, man. He is a staple in the VIP Facebook group, always answering questions, helping guys out, really assisting the newer guys when they come in. I appreciate you for everything you do. And for that, you were rewarded tonight with a nice 5 times on that buy-in, man. He placed really well in a lot of different DraftKings tournaments. So, Kyler18, shout out to you. But tonight's top shotter in the DFS sweatshops goes to the homie Rich Porter 21. This dude went out and took down first place, took down the GPP, the 30K tournament on FanDuel. And I'm telling you, some guys from the bigger sites were a little upset with this dude tonight. He was repping the sweatshop, had the logo in first place. Oh, that feels so good to see. We had some of the biggest names in daily fantasy sports looking up at the homie as he walked away with $3,000 off a $5 buy-in. Awesome. Now, I don't usually talk numbers, but man, this dude set it off, had a really great night. Now, I didn't have such an awesome night myself. Just made a little bit past my buy-in. As you know, I've not been able to play as much as I like to, doing all of the research and analysis and still with the kids, blah, blah, blah. But I know that y'all are just like me. These three dudes I'm talking about are regular cats. These dudes ain't sharks. They're just becoming sharp, profitable DFS players, and salute to them. My hat is definitely off to these guys, especially since they are members, faithful members of the DFS Sweatshop. And you could be next, man. Get in. Get in. You're still on the ground floor, baby. Get in. Now, let's go ahead and go with our regular formatting of the show. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to jump into the Core 4 review. Now, sometimes, for me, this is a gloating session. Other times, this is a bring myself to the whipping pole because of the picks that I've made that weren't bad. But I just want to clarify something. I love the fact that some of you are new to DFS and you want somebody that you can trust and rely on just to help you start your lineups. And that's what I'm here for. That's why there's 2 reasons why I issue out in the Core 4. For the newer guys who are just getting in the swing, whether you're coming over from football or this is your first time in NBA DFS, I issue a Core 4 to help you start your lineup building. The second reason why I do that is because I want to generate, cultivate, and keep in play that transparency that it takes to be like, yo, this dude is straight up and he's real. If he's losing, I'm going to lose. But if he wins, I'm going to win too. The same guys I'm talking about are the same guys I'm playing. The 3 of these gentlemen had something in common. There was a part in the show last time where first glance is what we're getting. We're getting uncut. You're getting uncut, unedited first glance footage. I haven't even taken a look at tomorrow's 10-game slate. So the first time I see it is the first time you're going to see me see it. And last night's show, something automatically jumped out to me. Yo, a Cleveland-Boston stack is in play. Most especially Cleveland. We got to get the big 3, even the big 4. We can go 4 deep on this. And that's what these gentlemen had in common. All of those lineups that they had that took down really good spots. Number one of them was in first place. Was that they saw that they could start Kyrie Irving, LeBron James, and Kevin Love, even Tristan Thompson, and really come off clean. Some of them went on the other side and had Isaiah Thomas as well. So these guys are really sharp when it came to last night's 6-game slate. But let's go ahead and jump into the core four. I released it today around 2:30 p.m. Eastern time, and that's what I do because at that time I'm usually in the barbershop and I have free time to get everything posted the way I need it. And we're gonna go ahead and jump straight into it now. The first play that I had, which was probably my favorite play in the core four, as soon as I saw it, I automatically liked it. I'm always on this guy's teammate, and something that I've come across in my research is that there's one guy on every team that is the last starter to be taken off the floor. This is a big deal. You've got to research this. On every team in the league, there's one guy who is entrusted by the coaching staff to be the last starter on the floor. So this dude might play 8 minutes into the first quarter, where the other guys may play 6. This dude might play 9 minutes into the first quarter, where the other dudes might play 5 or 7. And what this does is, if this guy gets a chance to get hot quick, the coach will leave him out there and he will continue to score. And that's what I had been seeing with on this slate, especially with Nick Batum. And that's why he was my favorite play in the core four, a instant no-brainer for me. He went out at 20% owned, so the ownership was not particularly high on him in a 6-game slate. Now, if this was a 10-game slate, I imagine the ownership on Batum would have been much lower. But on a 6-game slate where people were kind of forced into certain plays, we only had to deal with 20% of the people having Nick Batum, and that's why he could definitely separate you in some lineups. 7.8K goes out and scores 52.25 DraftKings points, 2 assists shy of a triple-double, which really would have broke the bank for a lot of cats. That was a very good play from him. I definitely enjoyed having him in my lineup tonight, especially in the core four. The next play is going to be a play that I was really heavily on in the core four. Even though he was on a back-to-back, I had researched some stuff that said this guy does play a lot of minutes in the back-to-back, and he, of course, is the last starter to be taken off of the floor every time the Toronto Raptors take the court. And that is why at 30% owned, I took Kyle Lowry in the core four at 8.5K. He went out and had a modest game, 43.25 DraftKings points. Not that 6x value that we were looking for, but definitely he was at 5x. Pretty good showing from Kyle Lowry. The next play is one that I'm kicking myself about right now. Funny thing is, this dude was 26% owned. So a lot of cats were on him. A lot of people were on him. I was looking at him as a value play. Did not think he would see that high ownership. I'm kind of glad he did because it didn't kill us. Just because the ownership was so high on TJ Warren at 26% owned, 4.9K. He went out and robbed us and brought back 12.25 DraftKings points. A horrible play. A big interception that I threw in the core four, but that's why bankroll management is key. I did not make it all in one night. I'm not going to lose it all in one night. And probably the best play, I would say, in the core four tonight was going to be Kevin Love. He was a lock. He was a no-brainer. Now, what really did it for me was we were in a limbo when it came to if we could be sure if we were going to see Kyrie Irving or not. So I had some lineups with Kyrie Irving just in case, and I had some without. Now, Kevin Love was in a multitude of my lineups just because I liked him whether Kyrie played or whether Kyrie didn't. But I knew if Kyrie didn't play, he was going to have an even better game. But he still had a great game. 34% ownership, 8.2K, goes out and scores 58.25 DraftKings points. I believe he was second of all DraftKings scorers tonight. That was a very, very good showing we saw from Kevin Love. Yes, he was second to his teammate. The big three was actually 1, 2, and 3. Kyrie, Kevin Love, and LeBron were 1, 2, 3 in overall DraftKings scoring, and that's why when I spoke to you about stacking Cleveland, I hope you paid attention because we definitely see what happens with 3 guys, especially the top shotter of the night, Rich Porter 21. You definitely see what happens when you can get that stack going for you when a team like that is going to be playing. So now, this core four was, in theory, at the very least, supposed to bring us back 5x. One, 147 DraftKings points combined. And you got to think about it. With my core four, I'm looking at a combination. I'm not even looking so much at actual guys. I'm looking at if I can take this 22 or in this case 29.4 DraftKings dollars and turn it into 147 to 176.4 DraftKings points. That was the threshold we were in. We wanted to get from, at the bare minimum, 5x value, 147 points. But we wanted to, our target was really 176.4 DraftKings points. If they hit the 5x, we're not gonna put them on a snowflake list. We're not gonna hate them, but we really wanted to get 176.4 DraftKings points. Well, they ended up bringing us back 166 DraftKings points, right there in the middle. About 5.6x was what we got from this core four. So if you used them, they did not kill you as long as you rostered sharply in other spots. Now we're going to come to a part in the show where we talk about the feature for players of the night. These are the four most talked about, tweeted about guys in the DFS Sweatshop, on Twitter, and in the Facebook VIP. We're going to start with the Who Dat, scoring all them points over there, player of the night. This is going to go to Troy Daniels, 2% ownership, 3K, minimum salary on DraftKings. Dudes goes out and 10x pluses on him. 31.75 DraftKings points. Excellent showing from Troy Daniels. A lot of us were on Andrew Harrison when we saw the news that we were not going to see Mike Conley for the evening. I took that as a let me go pay up for Gasol. Let me get Gasol in as many lineups as possible because we know that his usage goes through the roof whenever we don't see Mike Conley handling the ball at the top of the key. So Troy Daniels, Who Dat, scoring on the points over there, player tonight. The next guy we're going to talk about is the how did I miss that player tonight? This is a guy who 99% of us in the DFS world missed tonight because he was only 1% owned. That's right. George Hill came back from injury tonight. And honestly, I rarely roster guys when they come back off of an injury. I like to see that first game, maybe the first 2 or 3 games, to see how well they've healed and how good they are, especially moving. If the injury is below below the waist, like a knee or an ankle or something like that, I like to see how they're moving first before I jump head first and roster them. Well, 1% of you did, and 1% of you balled the fuck out with this dude. 1% owned, 6.2K, goes out and gets 48 DraftKings points. If you had George Hill in your lineup, there is no doubt in my mind you are standing somewhere close to the winner's circle. You are over the cash line. You did exactly what you wanted to do with that pick. Bravo, great pick for you. Now, the heat check play tonight is going to come from that Cleveland stack we were talking about. This is a guy, he was very questionable. We didn't know if he was going to play or not. I put him in just a few lineups just because I just wanted to take a chance. Maybe he does play. And that did pay off for me tonight. Actually saved my night, did Kyrie Irving, at 8% owned. Of course, if we knew he was playing for sure, the ownership would have been way higher on him. And that's just one of those things. At 8% owned, he goes out 7.6K, leads all DraftKings scores, 62.75 DraftKings points, an excellent, awesome game we saw from Kyrie Irving. And now we've reached a point in the show where we have to highlight that one motherfucker. That one motherfucker who goes out and fucks up all the lineups. Now, this dude was higher than 20% owned. And this is his 3rd time being a Snowflake of the Night. That's right. You're the front runner for Snowflake of the Year. Tonight, see, I knew not to fuck with you. Something told me not to fuck with you. I was on you. But when the news came out about Mike Conley, I had some place to go, so I had to fuck with your funky ass. Because I just knew you was gonna shit the bed. Something told me to get up off of you and not fuck with you. As soon as the Mike Conley news broke, and I knew Gasol was gonna be ready to go, so I kept a spot. And that's why tonight you, Hassan Whiteside, you a motherfucking snowflake with your snowflake ass. And guess what? I'm not fucking with you no more. I'm not. I'm not fucking with you no more. I'm not gonna roster your ass again unless you are under 8K. You have to be under 8K for me to fuck with you, because you a motherfucking snowflake. How you gonna go out at 8.6K and bring us back 22.5 DraftKings points against a team that you can target to rebound the basketball? You can target the Charlotte front court to play well. And you didn't. You shit yourself. And you a motherfucking snowflake. How you a... It say Heat on your damn jersey. You got the little fire sign on your jersey, motherfucker, and you a snowflake? Talk about a mind fuck. Let's go move on with the rest of the show. This dude is crazy. What we do now? We jump into, before we do the recap, we go ahead and jump into my very best DraftKings lineup. And like I said, the reason why we do this is so that we can generate, like I said, that transparency between me and the audience. We can go out and make sure that you know that the guys who I am rostering are the guys that I am talking about. That is a very big thing for me. That is something that has to be done in order for me to generate that transparency that it takes for us to be trusted with each other, right? So this is what we're going to do. We're going to jump into my very best DraftKings lineup. Now, I eluded the 300 Club. This is the second night in a row the 300 Club has eluded me. Luckily, tonight, there were so many shitty plays that we did not have to have high 280, 290 in order to cash. We were able to get there right around 265, I believe, was the cash line on the night. Now, as you can see, I had this lineup in a lot of spots. This is a lineup that I really liked, and it was part of that stack we were talking about. So let's go ahead and open it up here. Now you're going to see this was never a core 4 lineup. This was strictly a Cleveland stack. I wanted to take advantage of Cleveland playing against the Boston Celtics. So, of course, we had Kyrie Irving here, leading all DraftKings scores, 60.275. We have LeBron James at 5.6. We had Kevin Love at 5.8 and 0.25. And I went four deep on this stack with Tristan Thompson, thinking that, hey, this is where we can attack the Boston front court when it comes to rebounding. I thought we were going to see a better game from Tristan Thompson. He had 23.25 DraftKings points and fell one board shy of that double-double bonus that we want. I also wanted to have late-night hammers. I wanted to, have guys that were going to be able to score in the late night. Maybe they would see lower ownership because the games were later. That is a strategy that we use. So I had Darren Williams and Wesley Matthews. Darren Williams had 27.25 DraftKings points. Not a very good game from him. But Wesley Matthews had a very nice game. 32.5 DraftKings points at, I believe, 5.4K, 5.7K. That was a really good showing from him. And to round out the lineup, I remember the last two spots that I rostered was Terrence Ross. Coming off of that nice game last night, we saw that we might not see DeMarre Carroll. I said, well, that's going to open up some minutes for Terrence Ross. And so I put him in there. He had a pretty decent game. 23.5 DraftKings points at that 3.6K salary, I believe. And we finished it with Brandon Knight, who also played very well last night. And I was chasing those points from last night. There was a myriad of gentlemen that could have been in that spot to really break this lineup through. This lineup did finish in the money with 294.5 DraftKings points. That was a very nice showing from that lineup. And I'm glad I had it in as many spots as I did because I was able to not only recoup my buy-in back, but also make a little bit. And that's always, for a tournament player like myself, that's always a good thing. Whenever we can, bring back more than our buy-in, that's always a good thing. Because most nights, honestly, either I win big or I lose it all. That's just what I do. I'm a tournament player. I do not play cash games. I do not play head-to-heads. I am strictly a tournament player. Now what we're going to do, since the games, last night's games was such a short slate, we're going to go ahead and jump into okay. What we're going to do is we're going to jump into a quick recap of last night's games. And the reason why we do this is we got to know where we're going, where we're coming from, if we're going to know exactly where we're going. We've got to do that. We've got to do that. You know, I'm gonna send this quick message. Okay, we've got to know where we are going, where we're coming from, if we're going to know where we're going. And that's why we do this recap of the games. We're going to go ahead and start with the first game on the slate. This is the Charlotte Hornets at home against the Miami Heat. Now, you know how I feel about Kemba when he's at home. He was a very decent play, not an awesome play like we would love for him to be, but he had a very nice game. We're going to start on the Miami side, though, and we're going to talk about Justice Winslow. Horrible game from him. We spoke last night on the show. No, it's over for Justice Winslow. We're not doing that anymore. And in 28 minutes, he had 1.5 rebounds and 5 assists. Horrible game from him. We saw a really nice game from Josh Richardson. 20 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists to go with 1 steal and 1 block. He did start that game, and Tyler Johnson came off of the bench and had 18 and 7 to go with 5 assists, 2 steals, and 1 block. Really nice game we saw from Tyler Johnson. Pretty decent game from Willie Reed. In his few minutes, he had 5 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 blocks. That's pretty nice for his price point. And Wayne Ellington had 12 and 2. Tonight's Snowflake of the night did grab 10 boards and have 2 blocks, but he only had 8 points. Horrible game in 34 minutes for Hassan Whiteside. On the Charlotte Hornets side, a lot of folks were on MKG. I was not. I didn't think it was going to be a very good play, and that proved to be true. In 32 minutes, he had 4 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block. Pretty mediocre game we saw from Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. Nick Batum, we talked about him. Awesome game, 16 and 13 to go with 8 assists, to go with 3 steals and 1 block. Pretty nice game from him. Kemba, in his 36 minutes, had 22 points and 7 boards to go with 4 assists and 1 steal. And there was a Shaqtin' a Fool moment for him. Like, he kind of topped Swaggy P because he goes down, puts a nice move on the guy, and pulls up. Beautiful jump shot, lets it go correctly. Everything goes well. He knows it's going down. It bounces on the rim, but it's still going to go in. So he turns around. He does his little shimmy, and the ball comes out. Stop Shaqtin' a Fool. Put the motherfucking ball in the basket, Kimber. That might have cost him. Right. Now, Marvin Williams in his 25 minutes had 13 and 1 rebound to go with 2 assists and 1 steal. Pretty good game from him. Not much else we saw off of the Charlotte bench with the exception of Jeremy Lamb. In his 23 minutes, he had 10 points and 8 rebounds. Pretty nice game with him, and also a block to go with that too. The next game I'm going to talk about is the Memphis Grizzlies at the Grindhouse against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, this game was a complete aberration, man, because we saw something that we don't normally see. We saw Russell Westbrook get so entrenched in the competitive nature of the game that he gets tossed. And once he gets tossed, we know this dude is not only one of the best players in the league, the best player on this team, but he is like the only player on this Oklahoma City Thunder team. So they were dead after he got tossed, man. That was a wrap. It was over. And he wasn't having an awesome game anyway. So let's just go ahead and check it out. The best play that I can see from this game is going to be Enes Kanter. And he had 19 points and 5 rebounds to go in 23 minutes. That was a pretty decent game from him. Russell Westbrook, in his 23 minutes, did have 21 points and 5 rebounds to go with 2 steals. And Steven Adams had 6 points and 15 boards to go with 2 assists and 2 blocks. A pretty decent game for Steven Adams. Didn't see much else from anyone else on the team as they only scored 80 points total. It was a bad night for the Oklahoma City Thunder. On the Memphis side, we saw a really nice game from Marc Gasol. He only played 33 minutes, but he had 25 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 5 blocks, which came up to be really big. Z-Bo, in his 24 minutes off of the bench, had 21 and 8 to go with 2 assists. Pretty nice game from him. And we talked about Tony Daniels, the who that scored all the points over there player tonight. He had 22 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists. Pretty good game from him. JaMychal Green also chipped in 17 to go with 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block. And the old man, Vince Carter, hit everything on the stat sheet. In his 21 minutes, he had 4 points, 2 boards, 4 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. The next game I'm going to get into is the Cleveland Cavaliers at home against the Boston Celtics. Now, some of us were like, damn, this shit is going to be a blowout because they were up on this team by as much as 20. But Boston Celtics showed so much fight, so much courage, so much resiliency that they ended up forcing the game to go the distance. Very good play we saw from a lot of Boston guys. We're going to start with Isaiah Thomas, man. He had 31 and 3 to go with 9 assists and 2 steals. Pretty good game we saw from him. Avery Bradley chipped in 23 points in his 30 minutes and had 3 rebounds to go with 4 steals. Very nice game from Avery Bradley. Marcus Smart came off of the bench and in 31 minutes had 9 points, 1 rebound, 5 assists, and 2 steals. And Jonas Jerebko was really the spark that ignited them to go ahead and bring Boston back and to really keep this game close down the stretch. Jerebko only played 17 minutes, but he had 12 points, 7 boards, and 2 steals in that time. Pretty good game from him. Jay Crowder played 34 minutes, but a bit against LeBron defense, you couldn't expect him to do too much. He had 13 points and 4 rebounds to go with 3 assists and 2 steals. On the Cleveland side, the big three there, and they went the fuck off, man. They just went off. Starting with LeBron James, he damn near had a triple-double, 23 points, 8 boards, 11 assists, 1 steal, 3 blocks. Very good game from him. And this is shooting 50% from the field for LeBron. Pretty good game. Kevin Love had 30 and 15 to go with 2 steals, 2 assists, and he also shot right around 45% from the field. That was a pretty good game from him. We talked about Tristan Thompson already, 11 and 9 to go with 1 assist. Pretty good game there, and he shot 55% from the field. And also, Kyrie Irving, he played 41 minutes, had 32 points, 5 rebounds, 12 assists, and 3 steals. Really nice game from him in 41 minutes. Richard Jefferson also chipped in 11 and 3 to go with an assist in his 19 minutes. This is a really nice game all around as far as the Boston side and the Cleveland side. This was a very stackable game because the guys that did well on the Boston side, you could have afforded to have them along with the guys that did well on the Cleveland side. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the Utah Jazz at home against the Philadelphia 76ers. This game was very competitive for a long while, but at the second half, George Hill just took over, and the Jazz pulled away from the Philadelphia 76ers for them never to return. But we did see a really nice game from Ersan Ilyasova. He only played 24 minutes, but he had 12 boards, an assist, and 16 points. Really nice game from him. Nerlens Noel, we saw him for 22 minutes, and he had 14 and 6 to go with a steal. They've got to do something with Nerlens Noel. Either trade the guy to a team that wants him, or go ahead and play him, get him some minutes. We saw too much Sauce for 34 minutes, and he had 9 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals. That is Nick Stauskas. Pretty good game from him. And Sergio Rodriguez went out of the game with an injury. He only played 15 minutes and had 3 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists. And he is definitely out for Friday night. Robert Covington had a horrible game. This dude was 0 for 11 from the field. We talked about him on the last show, and I said if he's playing well defensively and the shots falling, he's a good play. Well, he did neither tonight. Didn't play good defense. The shot didn't fall. Horrible game from him. He had 1 free throw. Bad game for Robert Covington. Dario Saric also had 14 and 4 to go with an assist and a block in his 25 minutes. That was pretty decent for him. On the Utah side, we saw Derek Favors for 24 minutes, man. That was pretty decent, the amount of minutes that we saw him. He did get 12 boards and have an assist and a block to go with 4 points, but we're going to need more from him going forward to see him get back into full strength. Then we can definitely go all in with Derek Favors. He's one of the better power forwards in the Western Conference. Gordie Hayward, 32 minutes. He had 20 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and 1 steal, and was a snowflake. Was not worth the money. Rudy Gobert only had 9 points, but he did get 13 boards. He had 2 blocks, 2 assists, and 2 steals. Pretty good game from him. We saw Rodney Hood drop a dub. Now, this dude played like shit the other night. That's why I gave him no consideration. But he did show me a little something here. He played 32 minutes. He had 20 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists, 1 steal. Pretty good game from him. George Hill, we talked about him earlier. He put up 48 DraftKings points, but he had 21 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, and 1 block in 29 minutes. Trey Lyles was the only guy off the bench that really contributed. He had 11 and 2 to go with 1 assist and 2 steals. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the Phoenix Suns at home against the Toronto Raptors. There was a lot of bullshit going on with this game. Oh, DeMarre Carroll's not going to play. Oh, he is going to play, but he's going to play limited. Oh, well, then we're going to start Norman Powell. No, we're not going to start Norman Powell. Terrence Ross is the play. There was a bunch of bullshit surrounding this game, so I didn't do anything. I put Terrence Ross in a couple lineups and said, fuck it, because he's the dude that I knew at some point was going to see the court. So DeMarre Carroll only played 18 minutes, and he had 4 rebounds, 1 steal, and 2 points. We saw DeMar DeRozan for 34 minutes. He had 24 and 3 to go with 2 assists. Kyle Lowry got off to a very slow start, and that's probably the reason why the Phoenix Suns won this game. He had 24 and 5 to go with 5 assists and 2 steals and a block. Pretty good game from him, but not the Lowry game that we needed in order to separate ourselves in tournaments. Chris Joseph had 15 and 6 off of the bench to go with an assist, and Jonas Valanciunas, he only played 19 minutes. He had 8 points and 10 rebounds and was really tearing up in the first half. But this didn't play much in the second. Go figure. On the Phoenix side of the ball, Eric Bledsoe came back with a vengeance, man. After that bad game he had the other night out, he comes out and scores 22 points, dished out 10 dimes, had 3 steals, 2 blocks, and 3 rebounds. Very good game we saw from him. Devin Booker started off really slow, but he saved his night from being a snowflake. He had 19 points, 5 boards, and 5 assists to go with a steal in 37 minutes. Tyson Chandler had 7 and 13 boards to go with 1 assist, 2 steals, and 1 block. And PJ Tucker chipped in 14 to go with 4 rebounds. Pretty good game from him. And TJ Warren, this dude played 27 minutes off of the bench, and he had 4 points, 3 boards, 1 assist, and 2 steals, and fucked up the core 4 with a damn snowflake. Tyler Ulis played 15 minutes and had 10 points and 2 rebounds to go with 1 assist and 1 steal, and we saw nothing from Brandon Knight. This dude only played 8 minutes. After playing damn near 35 minutes last night, or 30 minutes last night, this dude only plays 8 minutes. He was in that roster. He fucked that up too. 7 points and 2 rebounds to go with 1 steal. And I guess while Bledsoe was playing so well, there was no need for Brandon Knight to play. So maybe that's what it was, but that was a horrible showing from Brandon Knight tonight. The last game on the slate is the LA Lakers at home against the Dallas Mavericks. The Lakers jumped on their ass real quick. I was like, oh shit, the Lakers are balling tonight. D'Angelo Russell looked good and crisp. The defense was playing very well. But then I think the fact that they're such a young team just took over, and the more heady, savvy players from the Dallas Mavericks side just went ahead and beat them up in the second half. And we're going to start on the Dallas side with Dorian Finney-Smith. His 31 minutes had 12 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists to go with a steal. We saw Harrison Barnes for 36 minutes not have a great game. He had 17 and 9 to go with 4 assists and 1 steal. Wesley Matthews chipped in a dub. He led all scorers on the Dallas side and had 6 rebounds to go with 2 assists. Pretty good game from him. And Darren Williams only scored 8 points, but he did have 11 assists and 2 steals to go with the rebound. Not a horrible game from him, but we could have saw more from him on the scoring end. Dwight Powell only played 14 minutes, but dude scored 14 points and grabbed 6 boards. You can't beat that at all, especially at that price. Devin Harris had 14 and 1 rebound to go with 2 assists. Pretty good game from him at his price point. And on the LA Lakers side, Julius Randle, man, he got in some foul trouble early and ended up only playing 27 minutes for the game. But he had 18 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. Not a great showing from him at all. D'Angelo Russell had 15 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals. Pretty good game from him. Jordan Clarkson came off the bench and had 15 points. But Thomas Robinson was actually one of the better players in this game. He had 8 points and 10 boards to go with a steal and a block. We didn't see much from Sweet Lou Williams. 21 minutes. He had 10 points, 1 rebound, and 3 assists. And he was not stumbling and fumbling and bumbling and knocking down shots. He was just stumbling and fumbling and bumbling. Bad game from Lou Williams. Now, that we've recapped last night's games, let's go ahead and jump into a quick point total preview. And remember, this is the first time I'm seeing this too. We're gonna do this together. This is the first time. We're gonna go ahead and take a look at it and see exactly who we want to invest in before we decide which actual games we want to invest in. So let's go ahead here. And it's a cool thing that we've been doing lately too, is we've been taking the 9 games actually. We've been taking the average of what a lot of other sites do, and we've been averaging them and putting them together with our own projections. And this is where we came up with some of the point total projections that you saw on the DVP spreadsheets, everything that you get with that premium access if you're in the website, if you're on the website, or if you are in the VIP Facebook group. And it was sort of accurate. Go back and look at it and check it out. It was sort of accurate. That was a pretty nice idea we came up with when we decided to do that. So let's go ahead and jump into the player pricing review. Now we're going to see, first things first, that James Harden is the most expensive play on the slate tomorrow. This is against the LA Clippers. Him at 11.7K. Usually, when a guy is that expensive, I'm like instant no, because I'm cheap. I'm very frugal when it comes to my DraftKings dollars. I don't like to throw my DraftKings dollars out there like that. 11.7K is a really nice price for James Harden. I mean, excuse me, a really heavy price for James Harden. But if there's any player against the Clippers that I think that we can roster with confidence, especially a banged up Clipper team right now playing without Blake Griffin, we know it's going to be a point guard duel. And Chris Paul has not been like locked down Chris Paul from last year so far. He just hasn't been. Like people have been able to get off against Chris Paul. And if anybody can do it, I think James Harden can. So I'm not gonna say that I'm not gonna roster him. I'm gonna have him in a couple spots, but it's not gonna be as heavily as you might think. The next play is gonna be Anthony Davis at 10.5. I like that a lot. I like Anthony Davis to bounce back. A lot of people are gonna be off of him. If there's one way you can attack the New York Knicks, it is definitely on the low post. But the one drawback to that is Kristaps is a pretty decent defender. He's a pretty decent defender, but I don't think that he's going to be able to slow Anthony Davis down. And I think both teams are just bad enough to where the game stays close enough to where we see a lot of each of those guys. And if I had to pick between the two, I would definitely go Anthony Davis. Next place is going to be John Wall at 10.3. That price is very high. That price is very high. If this game was in Brooklyn, I would like it more because that's going to, maybe help me to think that the game's going to be closer. But this game could blow out. We've seen Brooklyn Nets hang around the last couple of games, and they're going to get blown out again at some point. I mean, this is a bad team. So I do think that John Wall is in play. However, that 10.3 is a really nice price, especially when we have players that have more solid uh, point per dollar floors when it comes to their price. I'm not saying that Kevin Durant has a better floor than John Wall. No, I'm saying point per dollar wise, Chris Paul is a better play than John Wall. I mean, who's likely to get 6x? John Wall scoring 70 in this matchup, or Chris Paul against the Houston Rockets scoring, 50? Which one do you think is more likely? I definitely think it's Chris Paul. So the top three guys are going to be guys that I'm going to roster with caution. I'm going to have them in a lineup or two, but they're not going to be part of my core roster builds. They're just not. The price is too high on them. Kevin Durant at 9.9 he would be in play against the Dallas Mavericks, but this game is going to blow out. There's no reason. There's no reason to waste almost 10K in salary on a guy who you're probably not going to see in the fourth quarter. This game is going to get out of hand. Dallas coming off of a back-to-back. Golden State coming off a day's rest against Curry on Curry crime. He's going to destroy his little brother. There's no way. There's no way. I'm not fucking with most Golden State players tomorrow. The next player is about Giannis Antetokounmpo. Usually I'm not on him, but I do like the fact that the price has come down on him just a bit. He was just at 10K. Now he's down to 9.7. He is rosterable, even though this is a third-ranked DVP against the point guard position. We know that Giannis is not a real point guard. Like he can have his way with Ricky Rubio if he wants to. Chris Paul is definitely in play at 9.3. We may not see Pat Beverly tomorrow as well. So that's why you've got to, maybe look at this a little closer because if Pat Beverly's not in the game, we don't see that pesky defense at the top of the key for Chris Paul. He's going to run fucking wild. Him and DeAndre Jordan, oh yeah. Karl-Anthony Towns against Minnesota is definitely in play for me at 8.9. Whiteside, you can attack Boston rebounding. I think Whiteside is going to want to bounce back. You've got to have a short memory in DFS. I think Whiteside is definitely in play at 8.6. I wish the price had come down some, but the totals came out before the games ended, so whatever. Before the slate ended, so whatever. I can see paying 8K, 8.6K tomorrow for a guy that's going to be attacking Boston rebounding. Stephen Curry at 8.4 is a no for me. I don't want anything to do with this Golden State game. I just don't. Kawhi Leonard got the questionable tag, but I think he just sat out for a rest, so he is definitely in play tomorrow against the Portland Trailblazers if he plays. Damian Lillard is questionable. We need to check up on that as the day transpires so we can know exactly what's going on with him. Isaiah Thomas, second leg of a back-to-back, 7.7K is the price on him. That's not a bad price for. That's not a bad price at all for Isaiah Thomas against the Miami Heat. Even though they're really good against the point guard position, I think you could look to Isaiah Thomas. He's one of those talents that's bigger than DVPs. Dwight Howard is definitely in play at 7.6 for me. Draymond Green might be the only play that I would like from this Golden State game. Him and Klay Thompson. In blowouts, I like Draymond and Klay Thompson. Whenever Golden State is going to blow somebody out, The only guys that I could feel comfortable rostering is Draymond and Clay because they play a lot of minutes with the second team. If you look at it, Klay Thompson is the last starter to come off of the floor in the first quarter. That's why I like him. Kristaps at 7.4K. He's in play for me, but I won't have him in too many spots just because Anthony Davis is such a great defender. But in order for the game to even be a game, we're going to have to see a nice game from Kristaps Porzingis. Carmelo Anthony is a very interesting play at 7.3 because I think Kristaps is going to get so much attention that we can see Carmelo have a nice game against the New Orleans Pelicans. He didn't really get to play on the other night because it got tossed. He's going to be upset about that. He's going to want to come out and play well. So Carmelo is somebody that I really like at 7.3. The price is just right on him right now. Joel Embiid, I think he may be in play for tomorrow. 7.3K against Denver. That's going to be against Jokic. We need to know if he's going to play because not only does this affect Joel Embiid and the Philadelphia roster, this affects Jokic play tomorrow. If he's not playing, we can fire Jokic the fuck up easy. DeAndre Jordan at 7.3 is in play for me with Chris Paul back in the fold. LaMarcus Aldridge, the revenge narrative. Last time he bust their ass. And see, let's clear this up. It's not revenge isn't why you leave. It doesn't matter. If you walk away from a team, hey, I'm gone. It's about it's more about the fans and the people that talk shit and the people that are assholes to you on Twitter because you used to play for the Portland Trailblazers, but now you play for San Antonio. So if you were good and you played for a team, or even if you were bad and you played for a team and now you play for another team and you go back, it is a revenge narrative attached to it. That's just clearing that shit up. So LaMarcus Aldridge tomorrow can exact another piece of revenge from the Portland Trailblazers tomorrow. They are going to San Antonio. I like LaMarcus Aldridge in that spot. Jabari Parker is definitely in play at 7.2. He's going to be seeing a lot of Gorgie Jang. Gorgie Jang cannot run with Jabari Parker. I like him tomorrow. And if I like Jabari Parker and I like Giannis in some spots, I'm just going to go ahead and pair them up together. Paul Millsap at 7.1 is not in play for me tomorrow. He has been on a downward trend. I'm really not that high on Paul Millsap right now. Goran Dragic is in play if he plays at 7K. Nikola Jokic is still under 7K. I mean, yeah, he's still 6.9. He's still under 7K. So uh, if we don't see Embiid tomorrow, I like Nikola Jokic. Andre Drummond at 6.8 is a no for me. Brook Lopez is definitely in play at 6.8 against the Washington Wizards. Harrison Barnes, revenge. You can follow that narrative if you want to, but they're going to get blown out. And I can see Harrison Barnes having a decent game, but not like crazy. 6.8K, he's going to need, what, 40 points in order to make value? It's plausible. It's plausible. Al Horford against the Miami Heat is definitely in play for me at 6.7. I kind of like him a lot. Dennis Schroeder against Detroit, um, that's a no for me. If I had to choose between him and Reggie Jackson, I would pick Reggie Jackson because he's cheaper. Bradley Beal, he should be out tomorrow dealing with that stress fracture or something in his leg. I don't think he's gonna be playing tomorrow. But if he does, I don't like him just because the injury concern. I'm not fucking with him. Andrew Wiggins is definitely in play at 6.5K against the Milwaukee Bucks. Klay Thompson is a play I really like at 6.4. And to get exposure to a later game, Zach LaVine at 6.3 is in play against the Milwaukee Bucks. Drew Holiday at 6.3, even though it says it's the 8th ranked DVP, he's still in play for me. Drew Holiday is still in play. Martin Gortat definitely in play at 6.3. Derrick Rose is a play I like at 6.3. Avery Bradley is a no for me tomorrow. Otto Porter is in play at 6.1. Paul Gasol is a no. Tobias Harris, man, I wish I was on him last time out because I don't like him tonight. At 6K, I just don't like him. Now, see, a lot of people say he's gonna a really good play because he's not starting. But he is a starter. So he's going to see a lot of second team defense, and I can get with that. But this tomorrow, such a low pace Detroit team and a low scoring Detroit team. I don't know if we're going to have to see a uber excellent game from Tobias Harris in order, for them to win. I think Atlanta's going to beat them soundly at home anyway. But I mean, he's worth a shot, I guess. Danilo Gallinari, I like him tomorrow against the Philadelphia 76ers. Deron Williams is a no for me. When I attack Steph Curry at the point guard position, I want to attack him with an athletic point guard that he can't, stay with, and a guy who's going to be able to harass him defensively and kind of throw him off. That's not what Deron Williams can do. Sean Kilpatrick, if we don't see Jeremy Lin, is in play for me at 5.9. Ricky Rubio is a no for me. Wilson Chandler is in play at 5.8. Eric Gordon is in play at 5.7 for me. Wesley Matthews is a no. Reggie Jackson, I like him a lot at 5.7. Remember, we can attack Atlanta when it comes to the point guard position. We can definitely do that. Mason Plumlee at 5.6 is in play. The price is very low on him. I like that price for him. Justice Winslow, we can attack Boston rebounding. I think Justice Winslow does have a shot to do that. However, I'm going to go really light on him. 5.6 is the play for him. Ryan Anderson, 5.6 is a no for me. Jeremy Lin is probably going to be out tomorrow. Pat Bev, it looks like he's going to be playing tomorrow. And if he does, I do not like him because he's going to see Chris Paul defense. And he's just not that good already for me to take a chance on a slate like this where I can pay up another $200 and get Reggie Jackson in that spot. I'm cool with Patrick Beverly. Gorgie Jang is a no. Will Barton is a no for me. Trevor Booker is in play at 5.4. Tyler Johnson is in play, even though it's the fourth-ranked DVP against shooting guards. We see a lot of Tyler Johnson at the point. 5.4 is the price on him. I like that. Trevor Ariza is a no for me. KCP definitely is in play at 5.3. We've got Jay Crowder as a no. Markieff Morris is a caution for me at 5.2. James Johnson is a no for me. JJ Redick is questionable. Ersan Ilyasova is in play at 5.1. Even though it's the 6th-ranked DVP, I still like Ersan Ilyasova. Robert Covington in the bounce-back game is open for me at 5K flat. Austin, the coach's son, at 5K is in play for me tomorrow. Montrezl Harrell is a no at 5K. I don't like him. Sergio Rodriguez is going to be out. We know Clint Capella is already out. Jamal Crawford at 4.9 is a play for me tomorrow if you wanted to pay down at that shooting guard position and get some exposure to the Clipper bench. John Lure at 4.8 is definitely in play for me tomorrow. I like him a lot. If the starting rotation continues the way it is and John Lure is in there, I like John Lure tomorrow. Gary Harris can be a really nice play, I'd say, against the Philadelphia 76ers tomorrow. Evan Turner is in play at 4.7. The price is up just a little bit on him. It's 500 already, actually. Emmanuel Mudiay is in play at 4.6. I kind of like him. We're going to see maybe some TJ McConnell for the 76ers tomorrow. I think Emmanuel Mudiay can have a decent game out. Marcus Smart is a no. Maurice Harkless is a no for me. Kenneth Reed is in play at 4.6. Terrence Jones at 4.6 is in play. Joakim Noah at 4.6 is in play. Jahlil Okafor, the price is so low on this dude. 4.6K for Jahlil Okafor. If we don't see Embiid, I'm going to have him in a lot of spots. Greg Monroe is a no for me. Tony Parker is a no. Marcus Morris is in play at 4.4. I kind of like him tomorrow. Dirk Nowitzki is a no for me. Kent Bazemore is still dead to me. Bojan at 4.3 is not in play for me. Al-Farouq Amino, even though he didn't have a good game out, the price still went up 4.3 because a lot of us were on him. Against San Antonio Spurs, I think we can give him a look. Thabo Sefolosha at 4.2 is in play for me. Maurice Spates is a no. Low bruh. I want to say yes so bad, but he's not in play at 4.1. He's just not. Alan Crabb, if he gets to start for Damian Lillard, I think he is going to be in play. Tim Frazier at 4K flat. He's out of the rotation. That's a no. Dario Saric at 4K. No. Amir Johnson at 4K is a no. Tyreke Evans is in play at the cheap. 4K. Tyreke Evans is in play tomorrow. He's kind of a value play that I like a little bit. Justin Holiday at 4K. No for me. Raymond Felton is a no. Kelly Oubre. Now, if we don't see Bradley Beal, we can definitely look to Kelly Oubre to get to assume some of those minutes. If we don't see Bradley Beal tomorrow, he's definitely a player to watch. Nerlens Noel at 4K. We don't know what his role is yet on the team. We've got to see if Embiid is going to be playing. If not, we may be able to look to him at that 4K price tag. Brandon Jennings is a no for me. John Henson, 3.9. The price is very low on John Henson now. And we've been seeing Greg Monroe eat up a lot of the center minutes. But 3.9K for a guy who's going to get his first crack at playing well on the court, John Henson is in play at 3.9. He's got to be. Rondae Hollis Jefferson at 3.9 is in play for me. He's a very solid defender. Manu Ginobili is a no. Kyle Korver is a no. Malcolm Brogdon is a no. Danny Green is in play for me at 3.9. I kind of like Danny Green tomorrow. Patty Mills, no. Carl Aldrich is a no. Courtney Lee, probably going to be questionable. That's why we saw so much of the Holiday kid last time. Kyle Quinn, the price is back down on him at 3.8. I don't want any of that. Rashawn Holmes is still in the concussion protocol, so we don't have to worry about seeing him tomorrow. David Lee is in play at 3.8. That's a very cheap price for him. And remember, we could get popped tomorrow, so we've got to know what's going on with these San Antonio guys. So there's a ton of nice plays here. A ton of nice plays. Let's go ahead and let's find a men's salary killer. Somebody who we can just men's salary and see what's happening with him. Who do we like? Sauce against Denver, 3K. If we don't see Sergio Rodriguez, which we know he's going to be out tomorrow, Sauce is definitely in play because that's going to be two starters missing from the Philadelphia backcourt. We're talking about Sergio Rodriguez as well as Gerald Henderson. Sauce is in play at 3K, and I didn't mean to rhyme that. See if else we can grab. Anybody else? Gomez, Udry. Udry is in play at 3K too. He gets a nice amount of minutes off of the bench here. Bielita, Ed Davis, no. Chris Dunn, Louis Scola. Ian Clark, you think the game blows out? Ian Clark is worth a shot at 3K too against the Dallas Mavericks. That's a 3K play that we can look to. Hollis Thompson as well at 3K. We can look to him. So we've got a fair amount of plays, man, and we've got to familiarize ourselves with some of these cheaper guys too, for the simple fact that when value opens up, we got to know exactly where we want to go. So now that we've taken a look at the player pricing, let us go ahead and jump into tomorrow's 10-game slate, but there's only going to be 9 on the DraftKings main slate. Let's go ahead and take a look at that real quick. I'm going to pull that up, see if we can get a read on that. Yep, we're going to have 9 games on the main slate starting at 7 p.m. So, the first game is going to be a 4 o'clock game. This is the Chicago Bulls at the Indiana Pacers. 202.5 is the point total. We just saw these teams take on each other last week. Indiana is giving up 4 points. They are a home favorite to the Chicago Bulls. We know that Jimmy Butler tweaked that ankle, and this is for guys. If you're playing on FanDuel, you may have access to this game. And we know Jimmy Butler may have tweaked that ankle, and these guys can cancel each other out. We talk about Jimmy Butler as well as Paul George. Paul George had a really nice game out, as did Jimmy Butler last time. So I can definitely see that being the case again. Jeff Teague is going to be a really good play tomorrow against Rajon Rondo. Going to be a really good play against Rajon Rondo. We also can attack Chicago's front court, as you know, we don't see a lot of scoring on the low block for the Chicago Bulls, and it's not just because those guys can't shoot. It's because it's really easy to play defense against them. You take those guys out of the key, and you take those guys out of the paint with Miles Turner shooting that 10 to 18 foot jump shot. That makes more room for Thad Young to go down there and rebound the ball and get those putbacks. So I do like, if I had to choose a front court, I would like the Indiana front court, but I do like Jimmy Butler and Dwayne Wade in this game tomorrow. We probably won't see Rodney Stuckey, so that's going to be some additional minutes for C.J. Miles off of the bench. I think he scored like 18 points out last time. It's a pretty good showing from him. So all in all, even though this game's not going to be on the main DraftKings slate, I think it's going to be on the main FanDuel slate. I like Jimmy Butler. I like Jeff Teague. I like Thad Young. Miles Turner is a play for consideration. I like Dwayne Wade. Jimmy Butler, of course, we talked about him. And C.J. Miles coming off of the bench. The next game, and the first game we're going to talk about, this is the first game on the main DraftKings slate. This is a really nice point total, juicy point total. It's 221.5 points. This is the Brooklyn Nets going to Washington to take on the Wizards. Now, the spread is pretty big. It's a 8-point spread in favor of the Washington Wizards. They are giving up 8 points to the Brooklyn Nets. This is a scrappy team. And we see this team, just barely beat Chicago Bulls the other night. We've seen them beat the Charlotte Hornets, which is a really decent team. So this team does have a lot of fight. The only problem is, the pace of the game is usually dictated by the best player on the floor. And tomorrow, there's no doubt in my mind, the best player on the floor is going to be John Wall. So that means this is a high-pace, up-tempo game. For that reason, it makes Brooklyn guys rosterable because I think it's going to be a lot of possessions, which is why the point total is so high. Now, one thing is, I think if we don't have to roster John Wall to get nice pieces of this game. So don't think you got to go out and pay better than 10K just to get John Wall. You can get other guys at discounted prices and really come clean, especially if Bradley Beal doesn't play. I like Otto Porter in this game. I think Markieff Morris deserves consideration, and I definitely like Martin Gortat. On the Brooklyn side, I think we can definitely go with Sean Kilpatrick. If we don't see Jeremy Lin tomorrow, I think Rondae Hollis Jefferson is going to see some usage and be in play because Markieff Morris just does not want to play defense. He does not play defense, and we're going to see Rondae Hollis Jefferson really get some minutes, kind of playing between the 3 and the 4 spot. So I do like him tomorrow for a cheaper value play. And Brook Lopez is definitely in consideration in this game. Martin Gortat is playing so many minutes right now that he can get gassed by Brook Lopez. So I think that's something to definitely be on the lookout for, and add that to your data when you look it up, because this dude is playing a ton of minutes, man. Ian Mahinmi is not playing right now. He's injured. The Nicholson kid, they really don't want to give him much play. This dude's been getting like 40 minutes fairly consistently, and I'm talking about Martin Gortat. So he is in play for that reason, but Brook Lopez is also in play for that reason. The next game is going to be the Miami Heat going to Boston to take on the Celtics. This game does not have a point total yet for it because we are dealing with some injuries on the Boston side. We know that Goran Dragic is going to be questionable. He's probably one of the better players on the Miami team, so we don't have a point total for that. Like we talked about a few minutes ago, this is not a game that I would really target in the way of wanting to cram as many players in this high point total game, because it's not going to be a high point total. The Miami Heat are playing. They play a slow pace. The pace of the game is going to be dictated by the best player on the floor, and it could be it very well could be Isaiah Thomas. It could be Al Horford. Or it could be Hassan Whiteside. And if that's the truth, this is going to be a low-scoring game with a lot of defense. We looked at one of the better attributes of the Boston backcourt, and it is Avery Bradley as a defender. So I don't see this game being very high-scoring, and for that reason, I won't have too much invested in it. I do think Isaiah Thomas is a decent play. I like Whiteside in this matchup, and I think you can look to Horford in this game too. And a couple of these guys from this game, some of the featured players had bad nights last night, so a lot of people are going to be off them. So you might be able to get Hassan Whiteside at fairly low ownership, and even Al Horford at even lower ownership. Next game I'm going to talk about is the Detroit Pistons going to Atlanta to take on the Hawks. This is a 201.5 point total, with the Atlanta Hawks giving up 3.5 points. That is a smaller spread than I initially anticipated. And for that reason, man, that kind of puts some more Detroit guys in play for me. I'm going to have to give a look to Tobias Harris. A guy tried to put me on him in a VIP last time out, and I was like, nah, I'm not doing it. And Tobias Harris had a really good game. So he's somebody who we're going to be taking a look at. Now, I do love Reggie Jackson in this matchup. I think he's going to be able to have his way with the Atlanta front court. Dennis Schroeder is a really decent player, but he's not a very good defender, and that bodes well for Reggie Jackson. Drummond is not a player that I think I'm going to be going to. There's just too much value at the center position, and honestly, a slate like this, you don't have to roster a center if you don't want to. If there's not a bona fide center that you feel like is going to go out there and get you that 6x, you don't even have to roster a center. You can go power forward / center on a slate like this and get away with it. So, I don't like Drummond tomorrow. Now, Howard, that's a different story. I think we can look to Howard, and by doing that, we cannot look to Paul Millsap tomorrow. I just don't like both of them on the floor together. I don't think they play well together, and I cannot comfortably roster Millsap when both of them are going to be playing. I just don't like them with Howard on the floor. A couple guys that we can look to on the Atlanta side, aside from them, is Thabo Sefolosha. We can look at him. We can look at Kyle Korver for the cheap. Back to the Detroit side, I like KCP in this game. I think he can be a really nice play. The coach loves him. He gets tons of minutes. He has a couple stinkers in a row. He's bound for a good game. Atlanta is weak on the perimeter. All signs are saying go ahead and give KCP a run tomorrow. The next game we're going to talk about is the LA Clippers going to Houston to take on the Rockets. This is going to be a really good game, I think. A point total has not been released for this game yet because the Blake Griffin injury the questionable tag applied to Chris Paul and JJ Redick. We don't know exactly what's going to be happening with them. And so for that reason, man, you know, I always want to attack Houston because D'Antoni has those guys running so fast. I think this team is like maybe number one in pace, the Houston Rockets. And the pace is dictated by the best player on the floor. And it's a good chance tomorrow that James Harden can be the best player on the floor. It's going to be a high paced game. I think we can invest a lot on both sides of the ball, most notably Chris Paul and DeAndre Jordan. Last time out, Jordan had a spectacular game. I think we can see another showing like that again. Patrick Beverly, he didn't have the questionable tag we just saw on him, so he may be good to go. He might play. He might play, and if he does, I still like Chris Paul. I still like him. I still like Chris Paul if he does play. We've got could see some love off of the Houston bench. Talking about Yosemite Sam Decker. We may see some love from. We got to figure out who's going to be starting out of Harrell and Nene. If Harrell starts, I like Nene. If Nene starts, I like Harrell. I'm targeting the Clippers' second team because Mo Buckets is a soft motherfucker. He like to shoot threes. He ain't about to play no solid defense. So whoever is starting, I don't like him against DeAndre Jordan, but I do like whoever's the reserve when it comes to the Houston big situation. On the Clipper side, we talked about DeAndre Jordan already. I love him, fire him up. I like Chris Paul in this matchup. There's not too much else to like. You can dig through the weeds and look at the coach's son, and you can look at maybe because if you don't see JJ Redick, you're gonna see a lot of these other guys, and they could play well. They could definitely play well. Jamal Crawford is in consideration for me, but let's go ahead and move into the next game. This is the Milwaukee Bucks going to Minnesota to take on the Timberwolves. Now, this is going to be a battle of two of the young up-and-coming teams in the league. This should be a very fun game. This is a 210-point total with the point spread being even. Now, this is on OddsShark. The point total is even. So that's going to tell me it's going to be a close game, and we can roster cats in this game safely. I automatically like, as a pairing on the Milwaukee side, Giannis and Jabari Parker. Jabari Parker has been on fire the last couple of games. He's had a really, really good, nice string of games, and I don't see it stopping because I don't think Gorgie Jang can come out on the perimeter and defend him. This dude can shoot three. He can act like he's shooting three and blow by you. He can go strong to the basket. He's a very decent rebounder. He is improving his game every game out. I like Jabari Parker tomorrow. I think Giannis can definitely give fits to Ricky Rubio, and which makes me don't like Rubio on the other side of the ball. I do like Karl-Anthony Towns. We talked about how cheap John Henson was, and if a guy's going to be starting and have, especially with a coach like Jason Kidd, where you can go out and drop 30 points in a game, and then the very next game you start and you get a couple turnovers and it's not really going your way the first 3 minutes. He will fucking yank you. He will forget that you dropped 30. But if you go out and you make a couple plays in the beginning of the game, get a couple blocks, steal, score a couple points, he'll leave your ass in. That's just the type of coach that he is. And I'm willing to take a chance on John Henson tomorrow at 3.9K. Somebody who had a really, really good start to the season. I'm willing to take a chance on him at 3.9K. I think he's in play. That might be a nice stack because that will justify in some ways me paying up that high for Antetokounmpo when I can get maybe one of his teammates there. If Antetokounmpo has a triple-double and goes ham, at least I know he's assisted John Henson in some of the scoring that he's doing. So I definitely can look at John Henson tomorrow in a kind of a Milwaukee mini stack. I do like Karl-Anthony Towns. I think he's a very good spot tomorrow. Zach LaVine is also in play for me, as well as Andrew Wiggins. The hardest part with this Minnesota team is that Andrew Wiggins and Zach LaVine are such similar players. They're very different, but they're very similar, and they rarely have good games at the same time. They do, but it's rare, and you've got to pick which one is going to go off. Like the other night, I love Zach LaVine. He was in the core four, but the pivot I had was definitely Andrew Wiggins. And Andrew Wiggins had the better game. Had a really nice game that night, actually. The next game we're going to talk about is my New York Knicks going to New Orleans to take on the Pelicans. There is no point total yet set for this game. As we know, we are dealing with injury on the New York Knicks side, talking about Courtney Lee. Point total has not yet been released. It probably won't be very high. I can just tell you right now, I like Anthony Davis tomorrow. I think he's going to have a really nice game against the New York Knicks. The Pelicans are at home. I think the Knicks can win this game, but I think that the Pelicans are really going to put up a big fight at home, and they may even win the game themselves. On the Knicks side of the ball, the only guy that I really like that I feel like I can roster with confidence, and I never do this, is Carmelo Anthony. I like Carmelo Anthony tomorrow. I think Drew Holiday can be a decent play. Derrick Rose can be a decent play tomorrow too. We can't overlook Derrick Rose. Going up against Drew Holiday defense, I think Derrick Rose can get off. However, if Melo's, I like Rose more when Melo is off the floor. We saw when Melo got tossed, Rose went ahead and put up 42 points. So if Melo's playing, I like Rose less, and I like Melo a lot in this game. I think he's going to be a decent play. The next game is going to be the San Antonio Spurs at home against the Portland Trailblazers. We talked about a slight revenge narrative already with LaMarcus Aldridge. He went to Portland last time out and had a really good game. He's not going to see the Portland fans, so I don't think it's going to be as big a deal that he's playing the Trailblazers. Plus, we may not see Dame Lillard tomorrow, too. So this game could get out of hand. I think if it does, Kawhi Leonard has a really big part in it. Coming off of a day of rest, I think he is definitely in play. And I do like LaMarcus Aldridge just because he's been trending up and playing so well lately. On the Portland side, there is a plethora of guys that we could like. CJ McCollum, of course, is going to see Patty Mills or Danny Green, depending on where he starts at point guard or at the 2. I think we can look to him tomorrow. Evan Turner's going to get a lot of run with the second team. I like him tomorrow. He made value last time out. Mason Plumlee is somebody we can look at. He is like a younger version of Paul Gasol. So I think that we can definitely look to Mason Plumlee tomorrow. I think that's going to be a decent game. That's Miles Plumlee, excuse me. The next game we're going to talk about is a 211.5 point total, the third largest point total on the slate so far, and it is the Philadelphia 76ers going to Denver to take on the Nuggets. Now we talked a lot about if Embiid was going to play, and if he does, I like Jokic a lot less. However, I still like Jokic. I think he is a no-brainer lock play if we don't see Embiid. But if we do, I still think we can get him in a few of our lineups. Now, that news probably is going to come out. This is a 9 o'clock game, so we need this news to come out very early so that we can make any adjustments to our lineups. I'm talking about the Joel Embiid news. Let's check real quick to see just what they're saying about him so far. Just jump in and just take a quick look. See what they're saying about Embiid. If he's going to be able to play tomorrow, if he's going to be available. Okay. Well, he sat out tonight, so he's probably going to play tomorrow. And if he does, Jokic is not a great defender. Even though, I'm somebody who doesn't like to roster Embiid just for the simple fact that he's on that minutes restriction. The price is down a little bit on him. He's down to 7.3K. I still don't like it. I can't deal with the minutes restriction. Not on a 10-game slate, man. On a 10-game slate, I can't deal with the minutes restriction. I won't be rostering Embiid anywhere tomorrow. So if he does play, that kind of lowers my expectation of Nikola Jokic, but it does heighten my expectation of other players because that means the Philadelphia team is going to keep this game just a little bit closer. And with that comes the point guard situation that we talked about in Philadelphia, shooting guard too, the whole backcourt, where we know that Jared Henderson is going to be out as well as Rodriguez, so that means we can definitely look to Nick Stauskas and TJ McConnell. I kind of like those guys tomorrow. Gary Harris is definitely in play for me tomorrow on the Denver side. Wilson Chandler is in play. Gallinari is in play. Light Jokic. This is going to be a really fun game, I think. It's going to be a lot of guys are going to have pieces of this game because the players are so cheap. The last game on the slate, and probably the game that I will have the least amount of exposure to, is going to be the Dallas Mavericks going to Golden State to take on the Warriors. This game is at the Oracle, and it's only a 212-point total. And you rarely see Golden State in a point total this small, 212 points. And Golden State has given up 18 points to the Dallas Mavericks. I don't want any part of this game. Only two guys that I can even think about rostering, we talked about that earlier, it's going to be Klay Thompson and Draymond Green, because if the game does blow out that much, see, Curry can go off for a bunch of points, Durant can go off for a bunch of points, and the game probably won't blow out. But if Klay Thompson and Draymond Green play well, the game is gonna blow out. That's where they get those guys do the dirty work. They score the points. They are. You look up and you're like, damn, Klay got 27 points, and it's the first quarter. Like that's those are damn. It's almost halftime, and this man need 2 rebounds for a triple double. Like that's how that happens in blowouts for the Golden State Warriors. So I do like those two guys. If you're twisting my arm to pick anybody from the Golden State side, the one thing that we do have going on the Dallas side is that we're going to see Harrison Barnes go back to the Oracle. This could be, a really decent game from him, a time from him to go out and exact a little bit of revenge for, just them not, giving. He never really got the credit that he could receive in Dallas as their best player, and it's not their fault. He just wasn't as good as the other guys on the team, and they didn't do everything they could to keep him. So he may feel some type of way, and I think he will, and I think he's going to go out and he may play a decent game. But this game still blows out, so for that reason, I don't want anything to do with the Dallas Mavericks side. Now that we've wrapped up tomorrow's point totals as well as the player pricing review, I just want to thank you again so much for allowing me to be your guide through Daily Fantasy NBA. We're up over 3,100 subscribers. When you type in NBA DFS on Twitter, all you see is us, and that is a beautiful thing. That means people are searching this thing, viewing this thing, checking it out, and I'm really happy about that. The website is doing very well. We're adding new stats, new things to it daily. That's been a really great thing. Twitter's jumping. The Facebook VIP is going strong. Shout out to everybody that went out and won. The top 3 guys we talked about with the top shotters of the night. I just want to thank y'all again, man. And really, man, this does my heart good, man, to see people win money, bro. Like, I didn't really have a great night. I didn't have a great night. But some of y'all won money. And I know that's going to contribute to your households, to your families, to your kids, to your wives. Like, I know that's where some of that is going, because that's where it's going to go for me when I do well. And if you haven't had a chance to really get into it and win yet, man, your time is coming. Stay in the sweatshop. Stick to the 10% rule when it comes to your bankroll management. Develop your own core. Use mine till you learn how to develop your own core for. Compile information. Listen to the show. I'm going to be talking about the games. I'm going to do everything I can to help make you a profitable DFS player like me. So, this has been your DFS Jerusalem. If you want to support the show, you can definitely click that box over there. It might be over there. Click the box, let it take you wherever you have to go in order to support the show. Hey, yo, people are copping the DFS Sweatshop swag, baby. It's going. But we've got enough for everybody. So, at the bottom of this video, there's going to be a link. It's a booster. You go in there, and you go ahead and cop. We got any size shirt you need. We need 11 more to be sold in order to get them printed. Please help me out on that. We've also got a promotion coming up for the new year where we're going to let everybody into the DFS Sweatshop website for free for 1 day. We've got that coming up. So please, tell somebody about that. Man, there's a lot of great stuff coming. We are relaunching the website. We've received so much support from you all and everything that I'm getting is going back into the show to make it better. It's going back into the website to make it better for you. This is what I want to do with myself. So, and y'all help me find this way out of whatever I've been doing, the monotony of what I've been doing. I love doing this. I love the analytics and being an analyst and all of that shit, man. I really enjoy it. I just want to thank y'all, man, for doing this for me. This has been your DFS Jerusalem. Follow me on Twitter at DFS Jerusalem. And the number one thing we always do in a sweatshop is what them 3 dudes did tonight. We keep it 300.